Hi, and welcome to Hypothetically Intentional, where we ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything we do? I'm your host, Michelle Alvers, and today I have Lee Smart with us. Welcome, Lee.
Howdy ho.
Do you have an intention you want to set, or do you want me to set one, or should we both do it?
Oh, my intention for you today is to open and surrender. Those two words come to mind right at the top.
That's beautiful. My intention is to hold space and come from compassion
Hmm.
for a friend I care dearly about. And this is an impromptu recording, because you're kind of in it, huh?
Big time in it right now. For context, I just left a leadership retreat a couple of weeks ago, and it gave a very, very clear reflection of the impact I create in the world. And that reflection that I got back to me is I was typed as a danger type, which brings with it this wall of oh shit, something's about to happen, uh, which can scare a lot of people because I'm very good at pushing people outside of their comfort zone, and that scares people. And I'm starting to realize that it's born of some pretty serious wounds. It's my way of defending myself. It's a wall that I put up that people have to pay the toll to get through to get close enough to me, so that way I keep myself protected. And I'm realizing that that wall that I put up of nonchalance, a little bit of arrogance, a little bit of witty barbs, it's a wall that keeps me safe, but it also keeps me from being able to connect to people I love. It pushes people away. So dealing with that
Yeah.
impact and dealing with some of the stuff that's come up that I'm thinking about from my childhood, it's uh it's been a bit overwhelming for the last 2 weeks, to say the least.
Yeah, when you said to defend myself, I was like, I heard like, yeah, when there's nobody's giving you any indication that you need to. Like there's actually no danger, but it's like it's the reflex to defend, to protect in advance of any further wound or further pain. The other thing I heard when you were talking was when you said safe. I was like, yeah, safe in quotes, safe and alone, safe and pained, which isn't actually safe. Do you want to dive into the wounds a bit?
Yes, yes. I'd love to because right now I'm definitely feeling raw, like really, really raw. I
Mm.
haven't been sleeping in nights and um, like having some serious urges to numb with chemicals and uh, specifically drinking. Like last night was a perfect example. Was I was laying in bed and I could not sleep and I could not sleep and it was like hours and hours go by. Finally, I just got out of bed, drove to the store and grabbed some booze and just drove around drinking for a while to calm myself. And that's just not normal behavior for me. So that's how unbelievably open and raw I am right now. So yeah, let's see what's here because some scabs have been pulled back and I'm bleeding.
Ugh. I feel that deeply. I'm in my own wounds in a different way. I'm not quite as deep into the, bleeding out kind of place where you are. But that place of, I love, I'll say this, because I think it's important to celebrate stuff when we're in these wounds because we do feel like we're naked and raw and we don't have any protection against just elements of every day, let alone the wound itself, right? And so celebrate the fact that you observed, that you chose something that maybe wasn't serving your best and highest good, but you knew what you were doing and you knew why you were doing it. And I think pre doing any kind of work, we don't recognize that part of it. And I think that part of it is how we make a different choice and one that actually supports us versus perpetuating more pain and elongating the time that I'm going to say need to, maybe it's get to, but it feels like a need to sit in the pain because the only way out is through. You've said that before. I've heard you say it. And so, but sometimes the only way out is with. Like you have to sit in it and not numb it out. You
Mhm.
have to let it bubble up and ask it what it needs and all those things. And so when it bubbles up and you can't sleep, are there like, what does that look like for you? Are there loops in your head? Is there just feelings that that you want to stuff back in? Or what does it look like?
For me, I'm stuck in loops of I'm not going to be able to perform tomorrow.
Mm.
That's
So you go to present day. You're
mhm.
not in you're not in the past of the wound. You're in the how it's affecting you today.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's not even conscious for me. I'm realizing that like I don't even know what I'm thinking. I just know that I am deeply, deeply uncomfortable. I'm deeply agitated, and it's showing up in ways that aren't conscious at all. And I'm trying to put consciousness to many of what these deeper feelings are. I just know that I'm freaking agitated.
Do you know what
Uh,
you're agitated about?
I would think that it's almost feel like I'm pitching a fit, and that things aren't going my way. Wah, wah. It's like I'm stomping my feet and flailing my hands around, and I'm working so hard, things aren't going my way. Wah, wah. That's where I'm at. Um, I've tried everything I can think of. Why isn't it working? Wah, wah.
That well, now I want to open the inner child door because that's not resourced Lee, like wisely, like today Lee who has lived experience and has an inner wisdom that he knows how to connect to. That's inner child Lee. Do you know like which part? It's going to sound weird, but like which part of you, like which time period, and it might not be an age necessarily, but like, do you know? Can you think of specific where actually that comes from?
Hmm. I never connected these pieces before. Just now, it's trying to get my needs met as a young person and then not getting them met. Talk about some of those wounds. My mom, non-functional alcoholic, and in fact, I have an article in the works right now of me. I describe a picture of me. I'm climbing a fence. It's an 8 foot tall wooden fence. And when I make it to the top and I go to jump over, my toe just clips the top enough to where it flipped me over. I land flat on my back on the dirt and I run out of, I have no control over my diaphragm. I have no air and I panicked. So I was it's definitely elementary school, 7, 8, prime fence climbing years. So I run in the house and I've got zero air and I'm panicking. I am flipping out because I just like, I can't breathe. I thought I'm dying in the moment. Um, and I run up to my mom and she's on the phone and she shoves her hand in my face and said, "Not right now." And uh, like that was the first time I ever, like looking back at it now, it's, I have to take care of me. Nobody else will. And that started like I've been a do-it-yourselfer my whole life. And I'm realizing that's where it's born of. It's I need to be self-sufficient. I'm not weak. I can handle it on my own. That's
And
because
is there,
I never got my needs met as a kid.
yeah. So there's part of you like that, when you said that, the way you said it, it felt like a coping mechanism. It felt like a wall. I can do it.
Mhm.
I've always had to do it, so I'm gonna do it. And it just is. But it feels like, and I'm not claiming it to be your truth. This is a conversation, not a dictation, right? But like it feels like there's bitterness and aggravation there. It feels like it feels not much different from when you say you get agitated. So if you go back to then and
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's this deep sense of like I don't want to feel like I have to have it all together all the time. I want to feel like I can let go and have somebody just fucking hold me and say it's okay. It's going to be okay.
Have you done that ever?
No, no, my wife tries. She tries to get in and she tries to comfort me. She tries to be there and to hold me in those moments. I don't fucking let her because I don't even know how to accept it. I don't know how to let her. I don't know how to receive it.
When you think about receiving it, does a visceral reaction happen for you when you think about letting a wall down or even taking one brick out to receive even a hint of it?
You remember what was it, the Truman Show with Jim Carrey?
Vaguely.
So he's in this container and his whole life is being filmed. And so when he looks out at the horizon, he's actually looking at a wall. It's not the real horizon.
Mhm.
And he ends up going out on a boat near the end of the movie, and they turn the storms on. And after they almost kill him with the storm because they turn him on with all the machines, right? And but he kept on going. And then all of a sudden, he comes up against the wall, but it doesn't even look like it's a wall until he hits it. And it's like, boom, there's that wall. And that's what I feel like my wall is. Like I can't even perceive it. I don't even know it's there. I wouldn't even know how to start taking a brick down because I don't even know where it starts. I don't know where the wall starts, but I know it's there. I feel like I'm flying. I'm in that storm right now. I'm headed towards that wall so I can go try and get on the other side of it, but I don't know don't know what it looks like on the other side of that wall. I don't know how to even start dismantling the wall.
Is it possible? This is like a messy download. And I want to be really careful not to project or put anything in there. So if it doesn't feel true or resonate, like that always your intuition always trumps whatever I got coming in, right?
Mhm.
Is it possible that the thought of receiving anything brings you to a place, and I'm going to use a word that I feel like is maybe a trigger word for you, so bear with me. Is there a place in you that is so afraid, fearful of allowing anyone to truly love and support you? And I'm not saying you and your wife don't have love and support, but I'm talking at the deep inner child level here. To allow yourself to receive love and support is so terrifying because you never had it that you don't know what it feels like to receive it, and you're afraid if you get a taste of it, you will crave it and you don't trust that it will continue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't know. It's like for me, that love was professed. I love you. You mean the world to me. And then I was lied to so often that I don't believe it.
Right, but I'm not talking about words. I'm talking
No,
about actually being shown. And
exactly. It's
yeah.
like I don't know what it looks like.
Hmm.
Right? I don't blow. Even if it were to show up, I wouldn't even know what it looks like. And I wouldn't believe it if it's
That's
really
it
true, you know?
right there. That's it.
Yeah.
Because there's a piece of you that doesn't believe it's possible because you've literally never experienced it. Or at least you're telling yourself you've never experienced it, right? You've never actually felt it because the walls are up so tight, right? Is there a part of you that could, I don't mean revisit, like relive the memories. I mean revisit your inner, like that, the time, your inner child. I'm just going to use it as like a blanket statement that could like have a conversation. It's almost like there's two parts of you, right? Like there's the inner child, and then there's the you now who has done a lot of work and gained a lot of experience and has some pretty powerful skills around. I mean, you wouldn't be helping others if you didn't have the skills, right? So
Yeah.
could skilled resourced you have a conversation with inner child you and ask what you needed and talk about that? Like, let that inner child know that, yeah, it sucked, but also, you did find a way to get at least some of what you needed because you're here. And you didn't have all the skills you have now, but you do now. And so you can like go back and almost like give yourself what you needed in that time period, like today. Because I think there's something about like, I don't know, when I do it for myself and when I do it with clients, there's something about that inner child where like I'll be teaching and I'll go into a wound and I start talking different. It's like my 14-year-old self comes out and I am every other word is a swear word. I kind of get that angst and anger coming out and I acknowledge it. And I'm like, hey, this is that part of me. And me teaching in this moment and holding space for that part of me reminds me that A, I'm not there anymore. It shows me that I still need something to heal that completely. And it also gives me an opportunity to hold space and show myself love and even celebration that like it gave me enough gumption to get to where I am today. Do you feel connected to that part of you or do you just shut that down?
I've done pretty fair amount of inner child work. I've mentioned in our other podcast that Ken Mossman has been one of the people that has led me through this with his integrated adult man program. And I remember the first time we ever had an inner child exercise. We were fully on in the visualization. I could see my inner child as if he were 100% in front of me and real. And then whenever I introduced my adult self to him in this visualization, he turned his back on me, started walking away. That's how unbelievably wounded that poor boy was, that he just didn't trust I was there to love him. At first, I took it personally as an adult, as my adult self. And then I realized it wasn't about me. It was about him and his inability to trust. He just didn't trust anybody. It wasn't just me. Didn't trust anybody at all.
Yeah. So where did you land in that meditation?
Um, it actually took a few more times of going into that scenario before he finally allowed me to walk with him, my younger self. Um, and I remember that visualization. We kind of held hands, just walked together, but um, I also knew that my inner adolescent was 100% present because he popped in and said, "This is stupid. What are you doing?"
Yeah. Well, have you ever sat with him?
Oh God, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
I
But he's an asshole
yeah.
because he's pained, right?
Mm. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. He won't let me sit with him. So
It's fascinating to me. Like what I'm hearing you say is like your walls are up so tight you don't even let yourself in.
yep, I'm seeing that now. I never actually thought about it that way. That's the thought that went through my head after I said it out loud.
Yeah, that's why these conversations are so helpful sometimes. It's like you hear yourself say something and go, "Oh fuck, there's a dot." Do you know what I mean? Like, holy
Yeah,
shit.
that's also part of the beautiful part about me doing this completely and utterly sleep deprived is my defenses that would pop up and pretend that it's not there or whatever it is, that not that air of nonchalance that I keep around me. like, this ain't no big deal. That would
Yeah.
be fully present, right? And it's not as present. Those normal defensive walls are the,
Yeah.
their own lag.
Go ahead.
Huh. Well, yeah, I'm just thinking about spending time with me and loving me. It's been a few months now. I don't think we ever published the episode, but we were talking about this in a way early. That's a great point. Episode. And you asked me a question and said, because I was talking about how much I love everybody, and you asked me, well, do you love you? Uh, and it really floored me, and because never even thought about it. And I know I'm supposed to think about it, and I help other people think about it, and I've never done it for me to actually truly love me. Um, I just keep pushing forward, and distracting myself, and uh, it's been difficult to even think about. Like, whoa, how do I love me?
Do you know how much I love that that's where you went? What I was going to ask you is when you now goes into meditation and meets you in different time periods of your life, how do you show up? Do you show up in compassion and love?
I show up in nonchalance. That inner adolescent takes over so hard whenever I do those meditations, and he starts screaming, "This is stupid. This isn't going to do anything." Um,
And your first of all, self-compassion, it has to be at the tippy top when we do this work
mhm,
because we have to be able to hold that space for ourselves. So if there's work that needs to be done first to get you to a place of self-compassion and being able to show up to hold space in that way, then that's where like you got to start. I mean, awareness, obviously, right? But then compassion. And then the other piece of it, I think that feels really important and profound for you, maybe even, is radical acceptance that you had a childhood that you didn't want.
Pieces of it for sure. There were pieces of it that were great, and there was pieces of it with some
Meaning you
really,
didn't,
really, yeah, yeah. There
meaning your
was,
relationship with your mother, not getting nurtured. I mean, when you say I didn't receive support or that's a big, and in previous episodes, you've talked about how your childhood, you didn't get what you needed
Mhm.
and you wish you did.
Yeah,
And that's something.
yeah, give you an idea of how much anger I live with that has stayed in me. One time it was me, my mom, and my younger brother. He's 5 years younger than I am. I don't remember how old I was, probably about 10. It might have been just like it was either fifth grade, sixth grade, something like that. We went on a bicycle ride, and we went from the south end of town to the north end of town. It was a full day ride because we stopped at a few parks. And I kept noticing she would pull this water bottle out of her backpack, take a big chug of it, put it back. I knew what was going on. And by the time we made it to the north of town, it was, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 hour trip of us stopping here and there. She was so drunk, we couldn't go back. She couldn't pedal her bicycle. She got so freaking drunk. She was completely, I mean, so inebriated that we couldn't get home. And I was so angry because now I am taking care of my little brother again, stuck in a completely unsafe situation downtown. Uh, w- um, which there's another story too of I pulled him out of the car one time. She came to pick me up. He was in the car with her. She was drunk. I pulled him out of the car and she fought me over it. And we fought in the at right on the grass. There's a park there now, but there wasn't a park whenever we were there when we rode our bicycles downtown. That I was so angry, and when I confronted her, she fought back and started saying, "I'm the idiot and I'm the stupid one, and why can't I just mind my own damn business?" Uh, and I she only drank because of me, and that was the only way she could deal with me, and we got in a fist fight right there in front of God and everybody. I remember rolling around on the ground trying to beat the ever loving fuck out of her as best as I could, and she's hitting me back, and um, I was still just a freaking kid. I wasn't large like I am now, right? So so much anger, so much fucking anger.
What are you mad at? Or what are you mad about? Say more about that, please.
I'm mad that I had to take responsibility when I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't capable. It wasn't up to me, but I had to.
There it is. Let it go. If you want to turn your video off and let it go, let it go. You can turn your video and your mic off. Don't block this. You tell your stories without a lot of emotion. This is healing. In some ways, the stories are a form of avoidance because they're comfortable. You know them, but you don't sit with why you're pissed
Mhm.
about them.
I had to grow up so early.
It I remember in a previous episode we talked about play and it was like it took your breath away. It was like you got gut punched. You kind of were like, I don't play. Of course you don't. You didn't get to. You never learned how.
Yeah.
You still can.
I don't think that's 100% true. Um, but yet, even looking at it, it's like play was a form of avoidance. It wasn't play for play's sake. I played then because it's the only way I can not be in what I was in.
Hmm.
Like the video games for hours and hours and hours, weeks on end, were just a way to avoid, to try and avoid that responsibility, that weight. So heavy.
Yeah. There's so much awareness in you right now. And that gives you knowledge and clues as to how you can support yourself. Compassion, which you just offered to yourself by letting yourself feel it. Awareness that avoidance can get really loud for you to the point where sometimes you miss it, which is true for anyone doing healing work. P.S. means you're doing the healing work, you know?
Mhm.
Um, but knowing that, and knowing that, can you set an intention to observe through the lens of how am I showing up and why? Meaning when you can't sleep and you want to run or avoid because it's frustrating and aggravating, what if the choice was something that took you somewhere into your healing over avoidance? Might be more uncomfortable, might mean less sleep, and it serves a purpose. It takes you somewhere. It might take you into your pain, but the only way out of your pain is to get into it. And I feel like finding that compassion that you just offered for yourself and connecting with that place in you and then going to visit your inner, whether it be adolescent, child, 20-year-old, doesn't matter, right? Ages, it doesn't matter about the ages. I mean, people can hang on the age. It's like that doesn't really matter. But if the age is a helpful connector for you, great. Go to your 8-year-old boy, your 10-year-old boy who went on the bike ride and give him what he needed with compassion, not anger, not frustration, not like the 10-year-old is already angry. The 40-ish-year-olds can be love, can be strength, can be wise. And the strength is always there, right? It doesn't feel like it when we're in it, but it is because you were able to take care of your 5-year-old brother when you were 10 because you had that strength. You didn't have a choice. You were in survival. You were thrown into it and you found a way. And it sucks that you had to. And sometimes I feel like our inner child just needs a fucking hug. And we need to be reminded that there might be bits of ourselves that we left in that story, that we left in that time frame, bits of ourselves that would actually be useful and helpful now, but we left them there because we blocked it all up and we locked it up tight. It's like you're not in that state or that space anymore, but there might be a part of you that wants to pull forward and come back into your heart.
I'm realizing that I need to let him know that there's a responsible adult here, and he can let go.
That's it. I got the
He
goosebumps
does.
with that.
He doesn't have to have it all together all the time.
Yeah, that's like the weight of the world off your shoulders in a one sentence.
Yeah, it's fucking heavy.
What does that look like for you? Not having it together all the time. Today, not then, now.
Oh, that self-flagellation. Like, if I don't have it together at every moment, then there's some serious, yeah, I guess shame. Uh,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
funny that
saying, oh, go ahead.
I had a conversation with Ken one time and said, "Hey, we were doing this shame work in this course, and I'm not connecting with it. I'm wondering if something's wrong with me." He's like, "Well, I mean, I wouldn't invite anything in if it's not coming up easy, right?" And it's my avoider that avoidance is wouldn't even let me see it. I don't know why, but it's like I'm so blind to my own shame that uh and now we're looking at it through this lens. It's because, oh no, I've got my shit together. I don't have any shame. We're good. It's good. Oh, it's fine. And
Yeah.
that's where I end up going is that it's shame. It's like I whenever I don't have it together, then it's not okay, right?
Yeah. And I wonder, what does it look like for you if you allow yourself to today, like, currently, to not have it all together and to lean into your wife, your inner circle, your people, your pod, me, friends, loved ones. Does that feel a little more possible knowing that you are resourced? Your inner child doesn't have to keep everything together all the time. And you get to be human. You get to be vulnerable.
That word human really, really stuck out because I've tried so hard for so long to be superhuman.
Yeah. Well, you had to
Hell,
be at 10.
even as a kid, I'd reading all the comic books and how much I wanted to be. Like Wolverine was one of my favorite characters in the comic books a long time before those movies came out. And I wanted to be like that, that air of nonchalance, like I've got this. We're good.
Yeah. I've got this, we're good. It's like I feel like you had to tell yourself that for a long time, even though
Yeah, it's like,
you
you
weren't
can't
actually
hurt me.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the whole air behind it. Is that I'm unbreakable. I'm untouchable. You can't hurt me.
And in all of that, there sits
Mhm.
Lee's inner child and inner adolescent pained,
Yeah.
waiting for love and compassion and even just awareness. I think sometimes it's like, you know how when we talk about coaching and being in a room and how beautiful it is when you can just all be together and actually feel like you're seen?
Hmm.
I feel like our inner child and our inner adolescent and all those inner pain points that we have, they just want to be fucking seen, acknowledged, appreciated, and loved. And that's it. Thank you for doing what you did because you did that, I'm here today and I'm a fucking great person because of it. Or in spite of it, whatever your view is. Like I think sometimes when we're in it, it doesn't feel like it's happening for us, and sometimes I hate that phrase. It's like, yeah, I get it. I do get it. Like I do love me today, and I'm glad for my pain points, and I appreciate the what I learned from them and how it built a container that makes me able to hold space for myself and others. But sometimes it's like it didn't feel like it was for me, and I get to say that. What if what if you don't have it together? What is that even definition? What if what if there's some playfulness in a surrender of what if I explore and be inquisitive and be an observer and actually ask what I need versus being in reflex all the time? Reflex is exhausting.
Hmm. Yeah, reflex is exhausting.
It's like
We have a mutual friend that I keep trying to tell. Um,
reflex is exhausting and it's not sustainable. At some point, you have to do the healing. Well, you don't have to. I shouldn't say it that way.
mhm.
But it isn't sustainable. And at some point, you will hit a bottom for you. Everybody's is different, where you have to make a different choice because you literally can't take one more step. I feel like you've been dancing that dance a little for a while of you want and need something different and you've been trying to figure out what that might be.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely been I'm in such a survival state lately that it's I'm either all on and I'm doing a bunch or I'm stuck in a freeze state and there's no in between. I can't put it in uh second gear and just cruise. I'm fully redlined or nothing's happening. And it's got to run to keep from hiding. I was thinking about the Allman Brothers right now. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm running because there's this all the work that I'm doing, all the processing and the everything that I'm digging up is got me so off balance. And I don't have it all together. I'm trying to hold it all together. I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm superhuman. I need to make sure that I'm 100% look like I've got it all together, right? And I don't. So I don't know what it looks like to allow myself just to. I feel like that's what my inner child really needs is just to fucking fall apart.
Yeah.
And to know that to fall apart doesn't mean it's not going to not be okay. It's like it's okay to fall apart because it's not going to last forever. And it's like a battery recharge, right?
And to be crystal clear, falling apart isn't broken. Falling apart is perhaps for the first time truly feeling the wound or just truly feeling yourself, your reality, whatever that looks like. And it's that is healing.
Mhm.
That is not avoidance. That is the pause that I talk about all the time. It's like,
Yeah.
could you set the intention to pause and consider with compassion? And then mindfully choose, again, with compassion and intention, how you want to show up. What do you need? Consider you loving yourself and supporting yourself and offering yourself what you need. And understanding that more often than not, that doesn't feel together. It doesn't feel perfect. It doesn't feel powerful, even sometimes, until you're on the other side of it. Then you're like, fuck yeah, that was hard. And I fucking did it, you know? But to be in that place of the pause, finding compassion and love and nurturing to receive from yourself first, you might be surprised at how those bricks change and become a little malleable, maybe even morph into something different that is just a little more movable.
Yeah, well, I mean, to do something like this in public would have
I
been
know.
completely unheard of just a couple of months ago. So making significant leaps and bounds and progress very quickly, or at least I hope I am, because
Oh, 100%.
I'm kind of falling apart in public here. Which is cool. It's actually kind of I imagine it's going to be neat for people because if you watch our other podcast episodes, you can see the progression of or the digression of I was editing one of our episodes and I could not speak well. My English was not Englishing, and my brain is that far off, right? And then ended up crying in the episode that we published today for I don't freaking cry. Um, I'm reminded of my uncle's funeral. So my uncle was 32 when he died in a boat accident. It was 1998. And at his funeral, I was all jokes.
Mm.
I was lifting everybody's spirits. I'm good. I'm superhuman, right? I've got this. And it was, I think it was about 2 weeks later. I don't remember the exact timeline, but it was about 2 weeks later. I was listening to Pearl Jam, and the song Black came on. And for anybody that's familiar with that song, Eddie Vedder does just this phenomenal job of bringing pain, just emotional hurt, pain, sadness into this song in such a way that it is visceral. And whenever I was listening to that song in the dark in my bedroom, that's the only time I cried for him. And I didn't allow myself to ever feel that again for decades. I never listened to that song. I would have to turn it off because I didn't want that. It can't be here. I have to have it all together, right? That sadness can't be here. So even allowing sadness to exist has been not okay. There's been no permission for those kinds of emotions. I have to be the tough guy. I got to be the guy that's uh strong, right? The strong guy doesn't allow those kinds of emotions. Can't be the emotional wimp. um Recently I rediscovered that song and 2 days ago I learned it. Learned how to play it and sing it. Uh and I've been taking myself there on purpose. That's almost kind of like been my somewhat it hasn't been a conscious thing. It was just like, oh, I want to learn that song. And I've been thinking about doing that for a little while. And I learned the song and I've been playing it and holy crap, I'm channeling so much of that same kind of emotion that Eddie Vedder can bring to that song that I can bring myself to tears in singing it.
That's amazing.
It's fucking gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. And so I played it for the my kids the other night, and my middle daughter, she's doing that turning into a teenager thing, having the big emotions, and I got finished playing it. She says, "That's just too sad." Oh man. So apparently I'm doing a good job. But allowing emotions in that never had permission before and being safe in them to know that it's not all falling apart just because they're here is
Mm.
it's been hard. It's been hard to even allow it to be here because I've never allowed that. You know, if a deep dark emotions come up, the agitation or the sadness, I've always just avoided it and tried to put on a an air of jokes, an air of I'm fine, I've got this, an air of workaholism, alcoholism, pornography. I'm gonna go watch some TV, whatever, video games, which I haven't done that as an adult, but that's pornography either. But hell, it's like every time the agitation and the deep dark emotions come, that was how I dealt with it was, you know, avoidance. And the avoidance came through numbing. The numbing came as all kinds of different forms. Work was one of them. Exercise is another one. It's just been a way for me to not allow that to be here. Because uh-oh, bad emotions. I'm sad. Let's go change it as fast as possible. Go work out. And then I run myself into the ground, significantly overtrained. I've had adrenal burnout probably three, four times in my life. One time I had severe stage three adrenal burnout into full on like panic attacks and everything just because of how hard I can push myself. And I'm realizing that I push myself so hard just so I don't have to sit with the shit. Did
So
you get
where
all that? I saw it froze again.
I did. Yeah, it just froze at the very, very end. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So what do you do now that you see it? I love the now that I see it, I can't unsee it and those aha moments. Like they're beautiful. They're painful, but they're beautiful. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was one of my realizations at the retreat with the anger in that there was a day where I said something and the leaders challenged me on it and it made me freaking mad because I was blind to what they were telling me. I didn't get it. I absolutely didn't get it. And I said so and it would pissed me off because I'm like, I'm the guy that knows. I'm the smart guy. And here it is, you're telling me something and I don't get it. I was angry. I was so angry. Um, so I went to that night and I had brought my guitar with me and I played some of the songs that I wrote whenever I was in my early 20s. Oh God, they are so heavy. They are so freaking brutal heavy metal. There's so much anger built into just the music alone and the guitar, and it's gorgeous. Those songs were freaking amazing. Like I wish I had actually made it as a musician at this point because the anger in those songs was it was real. It was so real. And now I'm starting to move into the like I was talking about the Pearl Jam Black to allow the emotions to pop up that way through music.
yeah.
Like I never thought that music was going to play this big a piece of my healing, but oh God, it has been uh hard to do and gorgeous.
I love that that you see that you found that you know that, right? I mean, I think music speaks to the soul, period. I
Yeah.
just think music is like it is so ridiculously powerful in moving us. energetically, emotionally, like it moves us. And when you have that connection, and not only do you know like that connection, you freaking play it.
Mm.
Like, dude, you need
Yeah.
a soundproof room in your house so you can go play music instead of going off for a drive and drink. You know what I mean? It's like, holy shit. Make note of those things that you know work for you and
Mm.
pause and ask what you need and how you want to show up. Like even that
Mm.
simple pause as you're doing this work, because it's gonna ebb and flow.
Right, right. Yeah.
Because as you allow yourself to feel it more and more or deeper and deeper, or even just feel it, period. It doesn't have to go to a different place than like what we did today, even.
Mm.
That was powerful. But to
Yeah.
pause and
What
ask is amazing.
there's such a key piece of the human existence is we are emotional creatures. And if we turn that off, we turn off ourselves. We cut ourselves off at the freaking neck because there's so much information in emotions. And if we're scared of them, or if we're afraid to allow them to exist, we cut off key pieces of data we need to operate our lives. Just because they're here doesn't mean that I'm gonna not perform. In fact, I'm performing worse because I'm not allowing them to exist.
Hmm.
I'm thinking about
Well,
like your uh, some of your self-help gurus that they have out these days, like the David Goggins type, in that just keep pushing, just keep turn that off and just keep running, right? We're not going to allow the weakness to overcome us, and it's not weakness to be a fully functioning human and to allow ourselves to love and be loved. Because at the end of the day, we're at our best whenever we love those that are people, right?
yeah.
That's so to allow the love also means that we have to allow all the other emotions as well. Because when we turn off one, we turn them all off. We're not allowing ourselves the full spectrum of our existence to even exist. I feel like I'm kind of rambling, but I have a point and I'm trying to make it and I'm tired. I can't English well. Um, Got me all
It's hard when we're
discombobulated over
tired.
here, but um, I'm seeing that more and more. Like the further I go into it, actually, the more I'm able to regulate because I never had the opportunity to regulate myself as a kid,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, because you're looking at everything instead of avoiding half of it. Or I mean, I'm not just
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And you're I feel like a key piece for you because I keep hearing you say, I have it all together. I always have it all together. I have it all together. I feel like you need like to formulate for yourself the opposite of that, whatever that means, whatever the healthy version of that, healthy. I don't even love that word. The balanced, I don't know. There's no good words
The
here.
not self-destructive version of
Yes,
that.
the
Yeah.
helpful. That's the word I was looking for. The helpful version of that, because I think that to me feels like a record player in your energy where it's on loop and the record player is just stuck. I have it all together. I have it all together. I have it all together. This
Huh.
is my truth. This is my truth. This is my truth. And so to catch, no, not catch, notice yourself when you have that thought and then redirect it, reframe it to an actual helpful truth as opposed to this thing that helps you avoid and keeps you stuck. I feel
Uh,
like that would be really helpful.
part of the problem is it's not actually a thought. It's something way deeper than thought.
But you know your energetic, like how you show up pattern when you're in that state. I feel like
Mhm.
you can witness yourself in that. And so
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
point.
If I allow myself to feel it, right?
Yeah.
Because I haven't allowed myself to even go there. So knowing what I'm feeling, knowing what kind of data I'm messing with is so foreign to me.
Yeah.
Because anytime it's ever come up, that agitation, the anger, the sadness, whatever it is, it's like, okay, and I have to turn this off.
Yeah.
And so I have all my coping mechanisms to turn it off. So instead of trying to turn it off, it's what do I need to do to self-soothe?
Hmm.
And I don't even know what that starts to look like, but I know that part of it is allowing it to exist in the first place.
Yeah, and things like you described with the music, like that is nurturing for you and it
Mm.
doesn't shut it down. So like
Mm.
figuring out more of those things, but honestly, it can be that one. It can be because that you can even do on some level if you know the songs well, you can do it internally without actually going to get your guitar and playing. I mean, ideally, you're doing all the layers of it to get it and integrated as much as possible, but you can do that here. And allowing that for yourself. I think the other big, huge piece, to consider is it when you feel like you have the capacity to show up in self-compassion and go revisit your inner children, your inner child and your inner adolescent, and hold space for them from the state of compassion and just see what happens if that feels right to you.
Hmm.
They're smart little buggers. They feel our energy. They're us. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So to hold space in a different way, I think you might be fascinated of how different that might happen.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Almost kind of want to go put on some the Black Album by Metallica right now because that childhood version of me used to jam the shit out of that one. I wore it out
Yeah.
so much I didn't even want to play it for years.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that ought to bring up some connection to the inner child.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't know what your phrase or energetic state is when you come into that, I'm going to say pattern of I have it all together. If you don't have something at top of mind, I would highly encourage you to work with that because shifting that one piece, which is a really big piece for you, might unlock or just I don't know, I'm picturing like slate sloughing off, it might just get rid of some of that heaviness. That's a big, heavy story. That's a big, heavy belief. And you really like uncovered it. Feels like you uncovered it in a new and different way today. Maybe that's not true. Maybe you've been uncovering it for a long time, but your energy feels different in all of this today. And I really appreciate you having this moment in time with me, like together and being so open and vulnerable and real. Um, this is the least reflexive I've ever seen you. Like
Oh,
your reflexes just sort of like simmered down and took a sleep. You know what I mean? And and
mm.
and you really just allowed yourself to be with yourself, and then you were willing to do that on mic. And I really believe that when we have these kind of conversations, that people relate to it. Their story might be vastly different, but there's pieces of it that they can internalize and recognize and say, "Oh, holy shit, I'm not the only one." That
Mm.
feels good. Look at him. He's cool. I enjoy him. And and he has very similar struggles that I have. And something about that is comforting. And maybe that makes us all sick and twisted. I don't know. But it's truth to be
It's funny
seen.
that so long I've been trying to pretend to be strong, and it's been a weakness. And
Mm.
now that I'm diving into what I felt was a weakness, it feels strong.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Oh man.
well, anything else you need and anything else you want to share before we wrap up? I'm just here in utmost gratitude and love for you, my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate the conversation. This has been cathartic,
Mm,
for sure.
right.
There's a whole lot of other words that come to mind too, like gratitude and um like I have so much love for you.
It's mutual. It's reciprocal.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where I end up and uh definitely accomplished a major goal of mine and to be 100% real, as much as humanly possible to be freaking real, to not have put on a show, because so
Mm.
much content out there these days is curated. It's a show.
Mm.
And to be able to have the opportunity to put something real out there, this is me literally going through the shit in public. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so yeah, no crawfishing now, Shy. I tell you that. You ever watch a crawfish? They go
You've
backwards.
talked about this before.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So whenever I say somebody's crawfishing, it's like they creep up forward a little bit and they're like, oh, flap that tail, and then they go backwards real quick.
Yeah.
No crawfishing.
No. I mean, there does come a point in the healing journey where it's like you're in it. You chose to step into this part of the well, so to speak, and you're going through it. You're not
Mhm.
alone. You get to be supported in that, and you put yourself here, like literally, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you are the way out, and you don't have to do it alone. So that being said, I want to make it really crystal clear, and I know we're friends, and you know this, but it's important for everyone out there to know it as well. Like when we close this podcast and the mic turns off, lean in and I'm here if because sometimes when we have these conversations, more bubbles up and then we're like, holy shit, now I feel lost and I don't know what to do. It's like if anything like that happens, anything at all, or if you just need anything or whatever it is, like reach out. This isn't like close the door, peace out, bye, fuck off, have fun, you know? This is like,
Yeah, well, yeah, you don't have to worry about that. I've got it all together. It's
yeah,
okay.
okay, hey, I see what you did there. Crawfishing, are ya? Calling you on that bullshit. I think it's also very important, shifting gears a smidgy. How do they find you? How do people find you if they want to connect with you, even have a conversation or ask you questions if you're open to that, or also work with you? I mean, clearly you're doing the work, and those are
Mhm.
the people that I find the most refreshing to work with because they understand in a different level.
Mhm. Yeah, it's amazing how much work I've done, and it still feels like I'm just starting to do the work. I've been doing this for years. I help other people go through this and have for years. And even with all that experience and knowledge and real life exposure to it, hell, in the retreat, there was a one particular gentleman. I'll leave off with this last story, and then I'll give the rest. I don't want to share too much of his story, but there was a deep need to be happy, and he had a lot of really, really compelling reasons to go out there and live a happy life. And I saw it immediately in him. My avoider is so good, I can't see it in me. I'm blind to me, but I could see it very, very well in other people that, oh, wow, this dude is absolutely not allowing sadness to exist. He's not allowing grief to exist. He's trying to do happy. And so I stood up after he told his story and I said, hey, I want to give you permission to be sad. I feel like you need permission. I want to give you permission to be in the grief because there is no sunshine without or there's no appreciation for the sunshine without the storm. The crops don't grow without the rain. There are no heroes without villains. A hero cannot exist without a villain, right? So to allow the sadness, to allow the grief, and to go through it, like the only way out is through, makes the happiness that much better. The appreciation for the happiness, and it ends up before my scale went from -1 to 1, and the more I do this, I'm realizing that my scale's opening up to -10 to 10, -20 to 20. It's just going, there's a huge wide range. And the more I dive into the sadness, dive into the grief of how much loss there was in, I don't get stuck. Like we are so afraid to get stuck if we allow it to exist, and it doesn't stay, right? It
Everything's
actually,
temporary.
yeah,
Everything.
the more we allow it, the faster it passes. If we don't allow it, it lingers in the background under, and it's waiting to just pounce on you. And sure enough, I gave him that advice, and he allowed it, and he went to it, and he was like, "Man, I'm so grateful for you." And now here it is. I'm following my own fucking advice. Ah,
Beautiful
yeesh.
thing. It's a beautiful thing,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
friend.
So, um, leeasmart.com. Check me out on YouTube, Lee Smart. I have some
And we have That's a
Substack
Great Point.
articles. That's Great Point podcast with co-hosts Alina Doran, Michelle Albers, and Lee Smart.
Say more about the Substack. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Substack. I have quite a few articles, all kinds of different ones. I have one of them I'm really proud of. It's called Happiness Gumbo. Uh, it's a recipe for happiness.
Nice.
Yeah. So
What do you
yeah.
think? Was that a wrap for today?
Oh, that's a wrap.
Nice work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Be you every day.